breaking down Monterey sports. This is the Plainsman Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Good Tuesday evening. Welcome to the High School Fan Zone on a Tuesday night. I'm Randy Rosetta. You are dialed into 100.7 The Score and Fox News Now. If you're watching us on TV, we're going to talk some Monterey football with Jason Sims to my left here, if you're watching on TV, whose team played I said this last night. I want to make sure I represent this better. Played a really good game Friday night against El Paso Americas, but second half was really, really good in a lot of different ways, but just really flipped that game around and dominated the second half to win 50-32. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the area round coming up against Fort Worth Arlington Heights, and we're going to talk a little bit about just what this first year as a head coach back here at Monterey has been like after how many years before that?
It was a 3-year break from being a head coach.
But you were at Childress for 9 years?
7.
7, and how many at Quanah?
5.
I'm going to quit throwing numbers up.
No, you're fine.
So 12 years as a head coach before. This is a little bit different than coaching at Quanah or Childress because you're in a bigger market, bigger school district. So we'll touch on that at the end because we got a lot to talk about. Before we jump in, I want to go through last week's scores besides Monterey because there was a lot of playoff action going on. And actually only one Lubbock team saw its season end last week. So let's start on Thursday night. Thursday night, Lubbock Cooper in 5A Division II beat El Paso Del Valle 45-42 in just a great back-and-forth game. Great quarterback for Del Valle, and Lubbock Cooper's quarterback Ryan Rodriguez held his own in that one. That was a fun game to watch. That was part of my 2-day foray to El Paso. I got to watch the Plainsmen the next night. Also Thursday, Levelland season ended with a 77-38 loss to Seminole in 4A Division II. Then on Friday, that's when it got busy real quick. We had the second of three teams, or the second and third of 3 teams that headed to El Paso. Friendship lost 45-30 in the 6A Division II by district round. Monterey, as I mentioned, won 50-32. Estacado and Liberty held up the banner for 4A Division II at the Mustang Bowl in Andrews. Estacado beat Fort Stockton 31-17. Liberty beat Monahans 49-0. In the 2 6-man teams from 6-man TAPS teams from Lubbock that qualified for the playoffs, Kingdom Prep season ended with a loss to Waco Valor Prep 66-20. And then on Saturday, Christ the King kept their season going. They are 10-0. They beat Annapolis Christian out of Corpus Christi 60-24. That catches you up on last week. We'll go through next week's schedule when we come back because I want to get Jason to talk about his team. Halftime, you're not I don't get the sense you're a peel the paint off the wall type guy, but you had to talk to your guys because you guys were doing some things right, but was it 3 turnovers in the first half?
Yes.
You said after the game, you can't beat anybody at any level turning the ball over that many times, and it was 2 of them got returned for touchdowns. Not only were you being gracious, you were being gracious and watching them run the other way.
Yeah, we were. Like I said right after the game, I mean, turnovers will get you beat, and you can't beat good teams turning the ball over. And we were very fortunate to walk away with the victory with those turnovers that we had. Now, luckily, we created a few too.
Yep.
And so it kind of balanced itself out with that. But now ours were more costly because they did return both of those for touchdowns. It wasn't what we wanted to do, but like you said, I'm not a peel the paint off the wall guy because it does no good. You know, the plays had been made already. There's nothing, we can't go back and change them. You just have to play the next play, and that's what we wanted to get in there in the locker room and talk about. It was, hey, quit helping them out. Let's go. We're playing pretty good football. Mm-hmm. Let's hang on to the football and finish drives, and we did in the second half.
I think I told you, and I told Deuce afterwards, I had heard a coach tell me once that it doesn't do any good to tell a kid don't fumble.
Right.
They know. They're not trying to fumble the ball. You don't want to kind of keep planting that seed and So, and Deuce is not a kid. And afterwards, I double checked with you. Deuce didn't fumble both times, but he's a guy that you were leaning on, and he was running so hard, and he ran all night long. But he ran hard in the first half, and it was just surreal sitting upstairs to see. Well, there's the ball. There goes the other team again. It was shocking. And like you said, you guys really were playing well, and to look up and see the score like that, it was like, that doesn't look right.
Right. The second one shouldn't have been a touchdown. The kid, recovers it, rolls on the ground.
Really? Okay.
Gets up, and, their coach even thought it was over. He runs onto the field. The referee runs behind him.
Oh.
And so the referees kind of gifted him one of those touchdowns, but it is what it is.
And you talked about this when we talked the other night. You were down. The second one, the 72-yard fumble, put you down by 2 scores, basically. But you scored right there towards the end of the first half. That was big to give you guys a little bit of, okay, we're okay.
Yes, because when we got the ball with 5 minutes, we were down, and I thought, okay, let's just go on a drive. Let's go tie this thing up. And then we fumble, get the ball back, and I look back, and there's 3.5 minutes, and I'm like, we have to go score right here. We got plenty of time. Don't have to rush. We can still run the ball. And hit a few plays, and then Jonah threw a great ball to Noah Alexander, who ran a great route, and get that touchdown right before half, and that was big because that cuts it to 7 points, and that's manageable, in a kid's brain.
Yes,
any score I feel like is manageable. Just the way I feel about it, but to our kids, that was a manageable score for us to be able to do the things we needed to do to come out of the half.
And I thought the other key part of that was the Noah Alexander drive, because they had figured out how to at least try to slow down Quarren and Cam. They had kind of defended them. Deuce was probably a little bit of he was probably in his head a little bit at that point. So you went to one of your other options, a bunch.
Yeah.
I think he had 3 catches before that, or maybe it was 3 catches on that drive. And that all of a sudden makes a defense think, well, wait a minute, we've stopped these guys. Now we've got to defend this too.
Yep. You can't stop everything.
Yep.
You can't stop everything. So, they were going to keep their linebackers in close to try to stop the run, and then we're going to keep their safeties kind of focused with their corners on the outside receivers. Well, that created a lot of space for Noah, and we took advantage of it.
And Noah's deceptive. He's, you can see the speed with Cam. You see the speed with Quarren. Noah's not a slow
No,
man.
He's not.
And I believe he's a track kid, too.
He is.
Yes, I thought so. And I thought, like I said, I thought that was big that you not only scored but mixed it up a little bit to kind of give them something to think a little bit more about. Coming up on a break, we're going to talk more about that game and swing forward to Fort Worth Arlington Heights when we come back in the High School Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.
Bringing you the latest news from Monterey Athletics. This is the Plainsman Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back to the High School Fan Zone on a Tuesday night. Back and talk about your second half against El Paso Americas. You're down 29-22. Very key play happens right off the bat. You kick out. I don't know if it was intentional. It was a little pop-up kickoff. They kind of hesitated, didn't cover it real quick. And I just said the name. Was it
Armand White?
Yep. Another coach told me this today. On a muff punt or a kickoff like that, I mean, part of it's the other team has to make a mistake, but it's also your guys playing hard, not easing up on a play. And he made sure that he was in the right place at the right time. He recovers it, and that was one of the plays that changed the game.
100%. Again, a trade-off because they onside kicked it multiple times to us and recovered one.
Yep.
And we were constantly having to make sure that we were adjusting and being aware. And, they opened up the game with an onside kick and we recover it. And so coming out of halftime and we're kicking off to them, I guess they thought we were going to play their game with them, but we're not. They come out in our hands team and we're just going to do our normal pooch back to the 30. Well, the kid tries to back up and it bounces off his helmet, and our kids are hustling down, and Armand did a great job of getting the ball for us, and then we immediately convert that into points. And so that was huge because now instantly the game is tied.
That was the theme in the second half, converting points, because I think you had the ball 5 times, 4 full times, including that one, which wasn't a full field, but it was a full possession. And you never came off the field without points until the end when the game was decided. That offense Didn't get rattled by the 3 turnovers. Kept doing what you do well, and Deuce Moore was a man possessed.
100%.
I asked him, "Are you pretty good when you run mad?" And he looked at me, kind of nodded his head, and he smiled. He knew what I was asking. And you said after the game, what was the word you used?
What's that?
You said
ran with a vengeance.
Ran with a vengeance, and he ran hard, and your offensive line just brought their lunch pails and went to work.
100%. I'm very proud of that unit. They're, the couple changes we made 2 weeks ago has been fantastic. We've ran the ball the way we wanted to run the ball the last 2 games, and we need to continue to do that. And it was nice to be able to, call power and call counter, call zone, and go get the chunk yardage that we wanted, and then still had the passing game there and hit some big passes. Had a big 70-something yard touchdown to Quarren there in the second or third quarter, and so. We've had that balance on offense that we really wanted to strive for at the beginning of the year and didn't have, and it's here now at the right time.
Yeah, that was a good call by the play caller on that one, because you softened them up a little bit with Deuce, and then I think on that drive, I think he maybe ran the ball once or twice for 7 or 8 yards, and you have them kind of back on their heels, and all of a sudden they had to look up, and there's Quarren going down the field.
Makes it easier on you as a play caller when you see 2nd and 2.
Yeah, no doubt. Deuce, and I think I described him, and he usually runs like a bowling ball going downhill anyway, but when you light a fire under him, or he lights fire under himself maybe, man, I wouldn't want to get in front of him. He's not a huge dude, but he's big enough, and he runs so hard. He's going to do some carnage.
He's physical. He led block on one of the power runs and just melted the defensive end. So, he can do it all. He's a great blocker and physical runner, can get outside and show little flashes of speed. He's not going to be a track guy that houses it, but he had a couple of runs at 40+, and so he's a special kid.
And go back to last year when Judd Thrash stole him from you and put him at nose tackle for a while there. So that tells you how.
Yeah, you got to be physical to play nose tackle.
Real quick, you rattle off that offensive line, because you told me you tweaked it a little bit. Who are those 5 guys?
From right to left, you have junior Noah Gonzalez. Right guard is senior Jacob Mosley. Center is junior Brady Curry. Left guard is junior Matt Johnson, and left tackle is senior Felipe Pacina.
Good mix of guys who have been there for a while and some other guys who have kind of earned the right to do it. Monterey against Fort Worth Arlington Heights, 7 p.m. Thursday at Shotwell Stadium. That's on 93.7 The Eagle. The Plainsmen are looking to get beyond the area round for the first time since 2017. Went on to the regional round that year. It was the second time in 5 years at that point. Jason, come back. We'll talk to you Monday once you guys get it done.
Sounds good.
We'll be back in the high school fan zone, in the Mustang fan zone, after this break.
Bringing you the latest news from Monterey Athletics. This is the Plainsman Fan Zone Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back in. This is the high school fan zone on a Tuesday night. And reminder, this is the last Tuesday night show for the high school fan zone for this school year. We take a break next week. Come back December 1st. I'm going to call that up and go through that real quick here. December 1st, we will be back to 2 shows a week. It will be Mondays, will be Estacado, Monterey, Memorial, and Liberty. Each school gets 20 minutes instead of 30, except for Liberty. The Liberty will get 30 at the end to take us all the way to 7:30. And then on Wednesday, will be Lubbock High, Coronado, Friendship, and Lubbock Cooper. Same thing, 20 minutes for the first 3, 30 minutes for the last one. That's to free up folks for high school basketball. We'll have some high school broadcasts on our airwaves, and folks like to get out to their high school basketball. So hopefully Jason Sims will still have something to get you in here on Monday next week. Talk a little bit more about your next playoff win. So we'll talk about who you all are going to play. Let's go through that schedule real quick. Thursday night, these Plainsmen kicked the week off in the football playoffs for us locally. Monterey plays Fort Worth Arlington Heights at 7 p.m. at Shotwell Stadium in Abilene. That'll be on 93.7 The Eagle. David Thetford, I believe, will be back in the saddle, and he'll be with Randy Dean. I was telling Jason it was a different environment in El Paso without David there. I never thought I'd think of David Thetford as a calming presence, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. David would have been a calming presence that night in the press box. Friday night, bunch of games down in Abilene and one in San Angelo. Let's see, 3 p.m. Friday at Anthony Field, which is Abilene Christian and Abilene, obviously. Lubbock Cooper and Prosper Walnut Grove in the 5A Division II area round. That's a rematch of last year in that same round. In Class 4A Division II, Liberty faces Graham at 6 p.m. at Shotwell Stadium, where Monterey is Friday. Estacado takes on Brock. Let me go back. Lubbock Cooper will be right here on 100.7 The Score. Liberty will be on 93.1 Young Country. Estacado and Brock play at 7 p.m. at San Angelo Stadium. That is on down the radio dial with Nick Long on the call. I was happy. I talked to Mike Meeks after your game, actually. They got Brock to go out of their comfort zone a little bit to go on the road to San Angelo, so I'm glad for them because need to make them a little bit uncomfortable at this time of year. Estacado, they've been all over. They know what they're doing, so that's a tough chore for the Matadors. That's number 3 ranked Brock, and they're 11-0. So Matadors need to be Goliath to David a little bit in that one. Let's see, the other game down in Abilene that day, Lubbock Christian and San Antonio Holy Cross in the TAPS Division III regional round. That's number 2 Holy Cross in the state in that division against number 3 Lubbock Christian. A weird turn of events wound up putting 2 really good teams against each other in just the second round of the playoffs. And then also Friday night, Christ the King is playing Azle Christian in the 6-man Division III regional round. That's at Greyhound Field in Knox City. We were talking last night. Knox City is the hometown of Wayne Hutchison. That's where he, I believe he won a state championship as a player before he got into coaching. So he's that's a guy that I know you mentioned at your introductory press conference that you got to know coaching against him, and then the source of pride for you to step into those shoes that him and James Morton have filled. And we'll save that to the end when we talk about your first year at Monterey. But Fort Worth Arlington Heights, they are 10-1. I believe they won District 4 5A Division II. I looked back a little bit back at their history. They're an old school. I didn't realize that their school has been around for quite a while. They've been in the playoffs. They haven't won a ton of playoffs. They're still a fair. They're getting used to this whole thing. Well, Monterey's been there a bunch recently. What have you seen about them on video that jumps out when the first glance at them? When you first look at them, you're going to know they're big, they're athletic. The head coach has 3 sons that are on the team, a senior and then 2 twin juniors. The seniors are running back, and the twins are D linemen for them. They're going to look really good in their pads. They love to bring a lot of pressure. You're going to see a lot of blitz packages from them in different fronts, and then a heavy dose of number 1, their senior running back, and they want to run the ball. They want to control it and just play very pressure oriented defense. I don't know how battle tested they are. Their schedule is I'll say their schedule's weak. Burr, gave them fits, and they were the 4th place team out of that district. And so it's going to be a good matchup for us because, we're big up front too.
Sure are.
And we're athletic too. And so it's going to come down to playing really good football. Jason, come back. We'll talk to you Monday once you guys get it done.
Sounds good.
We'll be back in the high school fan zone in the Mustang fan zone after this break.